Hey everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan, and based on over 300 comments so far, hasn't even been 24 hours on yesterday's video. Yeah, I realize we need a quick summary. It's always amusing. If you talk about something positive, you get called a shill. If you talk about something negative, or even just different than what people think, you get the paid fodder comments. Yesterday, the video I did revealed three things. First, many thought CBDCs were going to be on a federated sidechain. I've got a spoiler alert for you. Federated sidechains were redesigned. And secondly, many confuse ODL, that's the use of XRP, the digital asset that Ripple, the company, uses for bridging cross-border remittances. That was, well, there's a confusion of ODL and the CBDC offering. And thirdly, there is way too much reliance on Ripple to build XRP value. Okay, first with ODL. Don't mix that with CBDCs. ODL and CBDCs are a completely different offering, and these offerings come from the company Ripple. Now, ODL is, just for those who might be new to this space, is where the digital asset XRP is used as a bridge for payment companies providing cross-border remittances. It works, it's growing, and it's a solid use case. It's grown to more than 40 different markets at present, and it represents 90% in the world's Forex trade in terms of their global coverage. And what about this too much reliance on Ripple? Well, most content creators, it's much easier to read headlines and skim articles or sound bites on Twitter about press releases, blogs, and panels from conferences that show up in videos on YouTube. It's much harder to research and dive deep into the teams and entrepreneurs building on the XRP ledger. They don't have these built-in audiences, and they don't have the big budgets to market or advertise. Did you know that the mainstream crypto media companies charge thousands of dollars for just a single press release? And talking about Ripple all the time. Okay, well, it might be great for those who have ownership in the pre-IPO shares, especially for the coming sellers now who may soon bring their illiquid shares onto the secondary market to sell. But 90% of the population or the XRP community doesn't participate in private equity. They solely hold the digital asset XRP. So the focus should be on what and who is building on the XRP ledger. And with that build, who is even going farther with using the digital asset XRP. I hope when the SEC case is over that the focus will shift over to what is actually being built, who's adding the value. I noticed a new site that is being shared by Ripple members that shows me they too would like to have more exposure of projects. This is xrpl-common.org. They have a mission to support builders and support the educators. It's new, just launched in March, and we'll soon see how they plan to approach their mission. The conversation expanded from yesterday's video onto Twitter, notably with Krypton writer Wrath of Kahneman and Ripple It In from New Zealand. The latter is an operator of an XRPL voting validator. Now, Krypton writer summarized the Digital Euro Association interview of Anthony Ralphs, who is a director of product management for CBDCs at Ripple, and Anthony, with a T, Welfare, who is Ripple's CBDC advisor. Everyone gets, for the most part, that central banks want to be private and they need to be able to control the money supply. And they can do this digitally by minting and destroying their currency. And you'll find that the graphic of this CBDC hierarchy of needs is very interesting. Ripple is providing a no-code front end for central banks and commercial banks to manage their digital currency. The XRP Ledger federated sidechains were redesigned late last September, no longer on Ripple's agenda. They've kind of moved over to the witness servers. That experiment with the transfer of tokens, including XRP Ledger's native token XRP, from the mainnet XRPL to a sidechain, well, they have a new iteration. And the new design does away with the federator and leverages this witness. Sidechains operate as a parallel network with independent nodes and validators, and they act as their own blockchain. Wrath of Kahneman brings up a very good point. I think there is a little confusion between using the word sidechains and fork. The CBDC as a product provided by Ripple is specifically a fork. The conversation that took place on Twitter is fascinating. I recommend that you browse through what was said. And I want to just highlight this one comment from Ripple It In. He doubts that any central bank will be connected in any way to a blockchain operated by a public consortium of which they have no control. I happen to agree. The sidechain is still directly linked to the main chain, so forks give this surety of privacy. I hope this brings some additional clarity to yesterday's video. Now let's jump to some fluff. Most everyone knows by now that I love the miniature work by Japanese artist Tatsuya Tanaka. When I saw this one yesterday, I thought, this is a perfect time to tell you about the couple from Germany who had not only an amazing life that will humble you, but left a legacy in Japan that is worthy of fluff. The orchestra is sitting on a German layered cake that's called Baumkuchen. The king of cake, one of the 1,500 types that exist in Germany, is a circular cake with a hole like a donut in the center, which is famously popular here in Japan. But the life of the couple who are responsible for making it so popular is, well, what I'd like to share. Karl Joseph Wilhelm Uheim, born in southern Germany in 1886, left for China at the age of 23 and built a very successful pastry business. He returned back to Germany to find his bride. Elise returned back to China with him, but in 1914, they ran into big trouble. This occurred when the Japanese occupied that area. They were forcibly moved to Japan, where he did continue to bake. After he was released, he gathered his family that was left in China and opened a new bakery in Yokohama. Business was fantastic, but in 1923, disaster struck again with the Great Kanto earthquake, destroying their business. With just $30, they relocated to Kobe. But again, in 1945, World War II broke out. Karl did not live to see the end of the war, and his wife, Elise, and daughter were forced back to Germany. Now, what's incredible is Elise returned to Japan in 1953 and continued the business in Kobe, which still stands today, with a few other branches throughout the country. And after 100 years of doing business in Japan, they are still extremely popular. The Uheim Company employs about 500 people today. They've got 2 locations in Kobe, and you'll also find branches in Tokyo, Chiba, Sapporo, Fukuoka, Aichi, and Shiga prefectures, with a history that is, I think, most inspiring. A life filled with disruption of 2 wars and the conviction of never giving up, but also the purpose that sweets have the power to make the world peaceful, piece by piece. Yeah, that philosophy lives on. The circular shape is auspicious and it's considered lucky. You won't have any trouble finding it anywhere in the country. From the convenience stores to the big, elaborate, fancy food courts in the basements of the larger department stores. even green tea rounds, which will cost you about $10. You can see here in this display. I can say with confidence, this is Japan's favorite cake. All right, everybody, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.